weeks, my birthday, I'm about to get lit. Might blow a bag on the drip. Make it all back on a quick flip, ayy. I just need cake and a thick bitch, ayy. I ain't have much, just a wish list. Not a broke nigga doing big shit. I got the gun locked loaded, I'm ignorant. So keep one eye open like...
So yeah, let's dive right in, man. We can talk, you know, your top 10 QBs. We can just discuss it. We can list them off, then discuss it. However you want to do it, man. What do you got?
Well, for QBs, you know, obviously you got Mahomes and Jackson at the top. Those are pretty easy.
Who do you have one? Who would you take?
I like Mahomes. I think Mahomes is a more consistent option. You know, I've been watching Lamar since I was in high school. I mean, you know, he went to high school right down the street from me. So,
oh wow!
Yeah, right in Boynton Beach. So
that's awesome.
I've been watching him since he was in high school, and he was even more of a video game character in high school. Yeah. I mean, Boynton Beach High played my high school once, and he absolutely went crazy,
destroyed.
So I mean, yeah, he's a human joystick.
I can't imagine trying to tackle him. Yeah,
Me neither.
I can't imagine that.
Me neither.
I'm interested to see us play against him this year, man. I want to see how our defense reacts to a player like that, because there's really nobody like him, you know, since the Michael Vick days type of stuff.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see how our defense just, you know, I just personally want to see that. The Ravens are a really good team, so it'll be a good test early on.
I think we have the stuff to stop Lamar. So, but
I kind of do too, man. I think we got a really good defensive line. We got some guys in the, you know, some shifty guys that you can put in different places.
Make him throw the ball.
Group, secondary.
Make him throw the ball.
Exactly. Contain him.
After that, I got Deshaun Watson, $40 million deal. Gotta love that. Gotta love the man getting paid. Even without DeAndre Hopkins, I think he'll be good. Speaking of DeAndre Hopkins, I have Kyler at 4. I actually really love Kyler for fantasy this year.
I like the boldness of that, man. I like Kyler a lot.
I think he's going to break out. You know, obviously, I think he broke out last year, but I think this is a full scale, possible domination of it. After that, we have Dak Prescott coming in. CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, Blake Jarwin, Zeke. That's a embarrassment of riches out there. If only he could figure out how to get paid. After that, you got to go Russell Wilson at 6. Always good. He just needs to be unleashed. Matt Ryan, always, legitimate, always very solid. Matt Ryan, consistent. Our boy Carson Wentz at 8. Stafford at 9, coming back off a big injury, but he could push for 5,000 yards pretty easily. Yeah. And then rounding out, I have Aaron Rodgers at 10 in a revenge season to prove he can still keep the job.
I like it.
What about you?
So I'm kind of flipping the top 2 right there. I would actually take Lamar Jackson. I just love the running ability. I feel like he's going to go off in one or the other. He's either going to have a really good pass, or he could have both. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It is a toss-up. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. I mean, we know what he's about now. He missed some time last year. That's why the numbers weren't, at the top. He's gonna play this season. He's gonna have the, basically the same team around him, if not better.
Right.
No reason he shouldn't put up, MVP caliber numbers again. I'm right there with you. I do have Watson number 3. Once again, I honestly think that they're going to rely on him a little bit more this season. I think he might run a little bit more this season. He has a really good receiving back in David Johnson. He's got some guys out there. I know they're not DeAndre Hopkins, but there's some big play guys. He's got the Randall Cobb in there to, man the slot. But overall, I think he could, escalate his play without DeAndre Hopkins. For some reason in my mind, it just makes sense that he's just going to kind of escalate his play to play a little bit better. Whereas, some of those times you just have to target DeAndre Hopkins just so he gets his targets.
Right.
Where now he'll be able to play in a more open offense. Maybe a play is not designed to go to any specific receiver. You get to make your own decisions out there. So I think that'll be interesting. Right after him, I do got Russell Wilson. I do love Russell Wilson. Like you said, I want them to unleash him. You know what I mean? Let him throw the ball down the field. They do get a little run heavy up there in Seattle. But he's got some weapons up there this year, man. No reason they shouldn't just let loose. They got some good running backs too, but Russell Wilson's ready. He's been an MVP candidate the last, however many years, 5, whatever many years. Right after him, I do got Dak. Threw for close to 5,000 yards last year, 30 touchdowns. He can scramble, run the ball a little bit if he needs to. He's good for about 2 or 3 rushing touchdowns. After him, I do got Breeze. I do like Breeze in that offense. I think he's another guy that can throw a lot of yards. He's going to be throwing the ball a lot. Kamara's another receiving back there. They brought in Emmanuel Sanders. That offense, unless Drew Brees, finally decides he wants to decline, which, that's the same with him, Brady, even, I guess I won't put Rodgers up there yet. He's not that old. So then after that, I do got Carson. I do like him. The bias in me wanted me to put him up higher, but, I got to be realistic, especially with fantasy. It is fantasy football. I think our offense could go 2 ways. Miles Sanders, he is looking like he's going to be the feature back, the full load guy. It's like, how much does that take away from Carson Wentz if he does come out and play at an elite level? But as the receiving back that Miles Sanders is, I think it'll only help Carson. And, we already talked about it, the speed that we put around Carson. He's a good option. As long as these guys can stay healthy, man. The whole team, you know what I mean? That goes for every team, but specifically the Eagles, we deal with it firsthand. Right after Wentz at 7, I got Kyler Murray. Really like Kyler Murray. Like I said, I thought that was very bold of you. I kind of wanted to put him up higher. I just didn't. I wasn't sold fully yet. But I do think he'll be top 10 potential in fantasy easily. He has a good team around him. He can run. He can use his legs. He's a scrambler. So he's got a lot of good stuff going for him. Number 10, Matthew Stafford. I like him. Last year, if he doesn't get injured, who knows? The way his numbers were projecting, he could have been an MVP candidate by the end of the season if he kept playing at that rate. He's another guy. That team's going to air it out. They don't like to run the ball too much with Matthew Stafford back there. He's got a rocket arm. He's got some weapons out there. So that rounds out my top 10. Eerily similar to yours. I think there's a couple, left off of there. But I'm pretty excited, for my teams. I actually got Josh Allen in a lot of leagues because I didn't draft a quarterback till really late. Ultimately, I like his running ability as well. Shaky in the passing game. I'm hoping that Stephon Diggs can really help him out. But I did get him in a lot. I think I got him in like 2 out of my 4 leagues, I think. So, he played decent last year. He just very inconsistent, not very accurate, more of a running quarterback. It's hit or miss with him. We'll see. But,
I'm a big Matt Ryan guy. I'm a big Matt Ryan guy myself this year.
Yeah,
Calvin Ridley is one of my favorite wide receivers this year. I thought about putting him in my top 10. I ended up not.
I was gonna.
He's right there, though. He's right there on the outside, 11 or 12. Yeah. Ultimately, I think that he could break into the top 10 this year. I don't think he's unseating Julio Jones yet. I think he'll come close. I think Julio's, going to start to, peter off a little bit. I think Ridley can push for 1,200 yards this year. I think he is the most talented wide receiver that I've, of the younger wide receivers I've seen in a while. That's without me seeing Jerry Jeudy at all. I also think he'll be absolutely a stud. But I love Calvin Ridley.
Who do you like most out of those rookie receivers? That trio.
Jerry Jeudy.
Jerry Jeudy?
Yeah, I think he, between his footwork, his hands, his just history as, wide receiver 1 for Bama, I think he's going to be really good. Don't get me wrong. I love Rager. I really like Rager. I think Jeudy is just on a whole another level. And I think CD's going to have a good career too.
Yeah. it'll be interesting down there in Dallas, man. With Gallup and
I think it all depends on how they handle the next year or two as regards to contracts.
Yeah.
Surely you can't think they're going to pay all three of them. So
yeah, I imagine Gallup will be the odd man out.
I think he'll probably go get a $15 million a year payday somewhere else.
He was a 1,000-yard receiver last year, so I mean,
especially if he puts up those numbers again this year.
Yeah, which I actually have him on one of my teams as well. So yeah, we could dive right into wide receivers. We're already talking about them. So I'll go first this time with my top 10.
Okay.
Obviously, Michael Thomas. I mean, he's gonna get his targets. He's the slant king. He's a guy who lives off short receptions. He's going to get a lot of receptions, and that helps out in PPR leagues. I mean, he's a king in a PPR league. Number 2, I do got Devontae Adams. I like him in Green Bay. It's not a lot of other options out there in Green Bay. With Devontae Adams' talent, I think he can take full advantage of that. You got Aaron Rodgers back there. Which I'm interested to see what Aaron Rodgers is on this year. If they're going to be still that run-heavy, defensive-oriented type of team, or if they'll let Rodgers loose a little bit. But either way, I think Devontae Adams will get his. Coming in third, I got Julio Jones. I know a lot of people had Tyreek Hill up there in that top 3. I do. I like Tyreek Hill. He's in my top 10 for sure. But Julio is just. He's another guy similar to Thomas. He's going to have these plays drawn up for him to get him the ball. He's going to get his targets. The only problem with Julio is that those touchdowns. He doesn't get a lot of touchdowns for some reason. But maybe it'll change. Maybe it'll change this year. Hopefully Calvin Ridley doesn't steal too much thunder from him. That is definitely something to watch out for as well. Coming in after Julio, I do got Chris Godwin. I really like him and what he did last year. Obviously, I'm taking it. I'm walking on a limb with that one. It was only 1 year that we saw that true, number 1 receiver production. Which, while we're on the Buccaneers, how do you feel about Mike Evans? Because I've seen him drop down the draft boards. Do you hold it? Do you think that he could beat out Godwin for that number 1 receiver on that team?
I think they're both number 1s, honestly. 1A, 1B, like last year, kind of sounds about right. Brady throws the deep ball. There's people said that he lost a little bit of zip on his throws. I could see that. Mike Evans lives on that deep ball. But he also lives for people being able to throw it to him. And Jameis was never accurate. I think we can both, suss that out. I think Tom will be much more accurate. So there's a possibility that Evans could still, put up those 75 receptions, 1,300 yards, 8 TDs that he usually puts up every single year and still be a very relevant wide receiver 1. I think he will. I think he'll be great.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad you think that because
they're interchangeable. I think they're interchangeable. I think.
Yeah. I would take either one of them as my, number 1 wide receiver. Coming in number 5, I got Tyreek Hill. He's going to be that explosive guy in that Chiefs offense. He's a game breaker. I do worry, with the younger guys they're bringing in, does it steal from him? Probably not. Mahomes likes to air it out. He's got a cannon. It's perfect for Tyreek Hill who could just outrun your defense. Coming in after Tyreek Hill, I do have DeAndre Hopkins. Like I said, he's like, I don't know why I feel like he's going to have a drop off on Arizona. It's just kind of not really about him as far as where he's at on my ratings. It's just more about the people that are ahead of him. I think he's another one of those guys that are going to have plays drawn up for him. He's going to get his targets. He's going to get his shares of the offense. But they do have a good bit of options over there in Arizona, so it'll be interesting to see. Coming in at number 7, I got Kenny Golladay. I like him a lot with Matthew Stafford over there. I think he's going to at least have a lot of touchdowns. But Golladay had a pretty good season last year, with missing Matthew Stafford for half the season. So I'm interested to see what he can produce, with a full season with Matt Stafford. Coming in after Golladay, I do have Mike Evans. I do like him, like you said, interchangeable with Godwin. I do like Godwin a little bit more, but we'll see how that goes. I love Mike Evans. He's a great wide receiver. This is where the list got kind of tough. I mean, once you get past those top guys, there's just a bunch of guys there that, you know, Courtland Sutton, guys that could have explosive seasons. I'm not that high on Courtland Sutton, by the way, but just guys, you know, that could have these breakout seasons. You got DJ Moore, you got Tyler Lockett, you got Allen Robinson. I think all those guys are right there at that number 10 spot. You know, it's kind of just picking and choosing. But I did go with Allen Robinson. I like him in that Bears offense. He's going to be, you know, a focal point. He should get a lot of targets, being the best receiver in that offense. And then number 10, I was torn between DJ Moore, like I said, and Tyler Lockett. I like DJ Moore a lot, especially with a better quarterback situation. I know Teddy Bridgewater isn't a world beater, but it's better than what they were working with last year with Cam out. So I do like DJ Moore right there, and then I'd probably go Tyler Lockett after that, just because he's with Russell Wilson. He's going to be the number one guy there. Well, I say that, but now I think about it, I'm thinking about DK Metcalf. If he can take a step.
He can take a step. Yeah, I think if anybody's liable to like go for like 1,300 yards, it's probably DK and not Tyler Lockett. He's more Tyler Lockett's more that, you know, move the chains, you know, a little possession type of guy. But DK can get you the 60-yard catches in a heartbeat. Look what he did to Philly in the divisional game last year. He tore us apart. That's not an achievement by any means necessary, but
no, exactly, man. But yeah, that's my top 10. Obviously, I think the wide receiver position in fantasy football is like so deep this year. You know, you got even Djax down there, which, you know, he's not going to be a world beater, but he's definitely a guy that can go off depending on the matchup. But there's just a lot of guys out there, you know, Sutton, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Odell Beckham Jr., you know, guys that Jarvis Landry, you don't – it's hard to, you know, wiggle it down to just 10 receivers. It's kind of just where you fall in the draft. But, yeah, those are my 10. What about you, man?
For me, mine are actually pretty similar to yours. A couple changes here and there, but obviously number 1 is Michael Thomas. We don't need to talk about that. You said everything that needed to be said. At 2, I have Devontae Adams.
Okay.
Picture of consistency there from Aaron Rodgers. Think about it. Who else is it really going to throw to?
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, we got to see Devontae Adams firsthand in that Packers game last year.
Right.
He plays that whole game, we probably don't win, man, because he was torturing Avonte Maddox out there.
Thank God he didn't catch a touchdown in that game, or else we definitely would have lost it.
Right, exactly.
Anyways, at 3, Tyreek Hill. Personally, one of my favorite wide receivers in the NFL right now. That man is a speed demon. A lot of people don't love the sometimes 3 points, sometimes 30 points, sometimes 6 points, sometimes 35 points. Yeah. But I think they all add up at the end of the day. He is the ultimate. He is the ultimate boom or bust guy, but more booms, obviously. Yeah. You know, how can you not with Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback?
Yeah,
he's just able to find him. It's like they got that perfect synergy there.
Yeah.
At number 4, I have everyone's relative grandfather of fantasy, Julio Jones. Starting to slow down there, maybe. Hopefully for my boy Ridley to fit in, but this year I think he's still going to put up. You know, that man has put up at least 1,390 yards in the last 6 seasons in a row. That's unbelievably consistent.
Yeah. You kind of can't bet.
By far, Matt Ryan's favorite target.
Yeah.
Number 5, DeAndre Hopkins. Like you said, you know, Kyler's got to throw to someone, you know, consistently. That person is definitely going to be DeAndre Hopkins.
Right.
He catches everything. The guy's got some of the best hands I've ever seen. At 6, Chris Godwin. Because, you know, obviously, you know, Brady likes the slot guy a little bit more than he likes the downfield passing guy, which is why I have Mike Evans at 7. Okay. 2 are really, truly interchangeable.
Nice. You got them right there next to each other.
Yeah.
I like that.
You know, they're truly interchangeable. You know, I told you how I felt 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
You know, I think that Tom Brady, relative to our QB rankings, in which I don't think either of us had Brady in the top 10, right?
No.
I think he's right there at 11.
He is. Yeah, he is.
The guy, he just offers nothing on the ground. You have to take that into account. He'll probably throw for like 4,000 yards, 4,500 yards, but he offers nothing on the ground, so he falls right outside that top 10.
Right.
At 8, I have Kenny Golladay because Matthew Stafford was on, he's on a tear. He strikes me as more of like a DeAndre Hopkins guy, not in the terms of skill, but no matter who's throwing to him, he can catch whatever they throw at him.
Exactly.
He was catching passes from David Blau last year. I saw a couple that stuff right over his head. That man is not a good quarterback.
No.
After that, I had DJ Moore.
Okay.
Great PPR guy. Doesn't catch a lot of touchdowns. Hopefully, I have some positive touchdown regression playing with a better QB in Teddy Bridgewater this year. And at 10, a relative surprise, I have one Odell Beckham Jr. Okay. I think the Browns' offense is going to be dynamic this year. Ooh, I'm so excited. Everyone's sleeping on Odell. I think we finally get to see 2016 Odell Beckham Jr. again.
I'm praying on
Everyone's been missing him for years, but yeah. I think he's back.
See, and I had him in so I did, top 10 wide receiver rankings going into the season. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily fantasy football, but just pure talent. And Odell's one of my favorite receivers in the league. He was I think he was number 5 on my list. But
everyone sleeps on him so much.
I know, man.
I mean, the guy played with us. He had the sports hernia surgery this offseason. I think he's fully healthy now. With him, health is always relative because he never really seems to be fully healthy.
Yeah.
But, who knows? Maybe he's finally, passing over the hump to where we'll see a shock and awe from him this year and him break out with like a 1,400-yard season. It could happen. Baker could definitely bounce back for it.
And I think, to your point, I think OBJ, the fact that he hasn't been highly regarded the last, 2-3 seasons maybe. He's been beat up, missing in action. Right. But I think that might be good for his headspace, to get himself mentally right, get off his high horse a little bit. He was having like a little bit of ego stuff going on there in New York. You don't know if that, I didn't buy too much into that stuff, but I try not to at least. But I think it would be good for his headspace mentally. I think he can come out this year. They were disappointing last year, to say the least. Jarvis Landry was more the guy last year, but OBJ is definitely the better receiver. And if they're smart, they'll use him in dynamic ways, man. Just let him loose, use him, targets. I would love to see OBJ, finish as a top 10 receiver next year.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess last but not least, of course, the running back position, which is very interesting this year. There's a lot of different options, man, and it could go a lot of different ways. It's hard to get a real read as well, with no preseason, and we're just jumping right in week 1. They're going with however the depth chart is set up, that's the way they're going, and we'll see how it plays out. Just situations like Leonard Fournette and Jones down there in Tampa Bay. There's a couple other, interesting scenarios. Even, what's going on in Jacksonville with the running back position. I don't think I would take any of those guys.
No. I think Chris Thompson is the only guy you can truly take, and not early, late, definitely.
He's a good receiver back at least.
And plus he has the history with Jay Gruden there too.
Yeah, that's very true. So do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Number 1, no-brainer. McCaffrey. 1,000. Is he going to do it again? Probably not. But this is the guy who could have scored 155 fantasy points less last year than he did, and he still would have been the top running back. So if you get the number 1 pick and you take anyone else, you're kind of not stupid, but ambitious.
Be nice.
Ambitious. Very ambitious.
Yeah. I agree, man. I like Saquon Barkley a lot, but CMC is just built in that offense. That offense is about him.
I think all of the highly paid fantasy analysts who do this for a living, let's just start there. I do not do this for a living, but I think they would agree with me.
Yeah, no doubt.
Number 2, Saquon Barkley. You got to think he's going to have a bounce back year after he was injured last year, missed a few games. Came back strong down the stretch. He was really good. But he's one of my favorite plays. Probably my favorite dynasty play too, since he's a little bit younger and offers more upside. At number 3, a little surprise, I have Dalvin Cook. Dalvin's long been one of my favorite backs in the NFL, really since he was drafted. And with the news that Mike McCarthy, the new Dallas coach, more kind of prefers to go a little more pass happy than run happy, you might think that there might be a little decrease for Zeke in terms of workload. Maybe he won't get that 1,400 yards he seems to accumulate on the ground every year, which is why I have him at 4.
There, man. They got
a lot of mouths to feed there. I think he's going to lose some targets too to CeeDee Lamb and Blake Jarwin. They got to they got to feed them somehow.
Yeah, get guys involved.
5, I have Alvin Kamara. I'm not too worried about the injury history. I heard he got an epidural in his back, but the good epidural to where he's not, in risk of re-injuring it or, having pain going into the season. I'm still drafting Latavius Murray just in case because he's actually a good handcuff. But I like Kamara at 5. 6, Derrick Henry. Shouldn't be out of the question for him to hit another 1,300, 1,400 yards on the ground.
Yeah, I thought it was
probably
crazy.
10 plus touchdowns.
I see a lot of people with him out of their top 10. Like a lot of the professional analysts with him out of the top 10, which is just very weird. I get he's not a PPR guy. He's not a receiving back necessarily. But I did hear reports that he's been kind of working on being more versatile in that aspect. But he's going to get a boatload of carries in that offense. It's really based around the run. So,
right. Up at 7, I have Joe Mixon. Mixon is one of my really favorite guys too. I've been drafting him around 7, 8 whenever I get in that spot in leagues this year. I think I think that he might start to finally break into that PPR target share from Giovanni Bernard a little bit. I think they're ready to hand him the keys to the offense. You saw that. They paid him $12 million a year on that extension, hopefully.
He's going to be a rookie quarterback's best friend, for sure.
Definitely. Being able to dump the ball off to him,
exactly.
Easy. Miles Sanders at 8.
Okay.
Don't need to go too much into him. Carson Wentz's, his James White out of the backfield. Very good.
Yeah.
Number 9, I have – yep. Number 9, I have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, rookie version of Brian Westbrook. Do I need to really say any more than that? I think he'll be so good. He might start a little slow. They say Darrell Williams might grab some carries early on, but I think he's gonna end really well, really strongly. So I have no fears for him. And at 10, I have Josh Jacobs, who I think will start to finally grab some passes this year.
Yeah, that was the only thing that was kind of holding me back from Josh Jacobs was, the receiving aspect of his game. But hopefully they do, just get him a little more involved with that aspect of their offense. But yeah, to your point about Edwards, Louis Riddick actually had him slated as his number 1 guy. Like he literally thinks that he's going to be better than CMC this year. Which is
ambitious.
Not impossible, but very ambitious.
Very ambitious. That's my favorite word this year. Ambitious.
The Chiefs have, some mouths to feed there as well. So for him to be on that level of CMC, I kind of doubt it.
Right.
So I'll dive right into mine. Get through these quick. Obviously, CMC. Number 1, I don't need to say anything about that. Saquon, number 2, obvious. I do have Elliott right there. I'm going to take him over Cook until they prove me to not take him over Cook, But right. I do agree with you in a sense. They do got a lot of mouths to feed. I got Cook right there at number 4. In Minnesota, I do think they're going to run the ball even more. I think.
They love. With Stephon Diggs gone. With Stephon Diggs gone, they got to get some targets there too. Yeah.
Exactly. So I like Cook a lot. I can even roll with you, at number 3 with him. So I'm not hating on that necessarily. Alvin Kamara, number 5, receiving back. I've had him in my fantasy league. I didn't have him last year, but since his rookie year, I think it was 2 years before that. He's been in the league 3 years, right? This will be his 4th. So I think I had him his first 2 seasons, and just a very productive guy. He can do a little bit of everything. He's a Swiss Army knife. Then after that, I actually have Austin Eckler, man. I like him out there as the main back in LA. They're going to have some quarterback things going on there, with Tyrod Taylor.
I heard that Josh Kelly and Justin Jackson have been taking more of a first team reps role out there. Yeah, that's why I took him out of my
left
top
him
10.
off.
I think he's right there, but I don't know. They've never given him enough carries to really warrant it, and I don't know if they're going to start.
It's really the receiving aspect that I really love about him. He's a great receiving back, but that's actually really interesting. I'm gonna have to check out. I actually was planning on checking out Hard Knocks tonight, so maybe get some more insight on what's going on there. After Eckler, I do have Derrick Henry. I think he could finish, top 5. Honestly, the way the touches that he gets. He's relied on heavily by that Tennessee offense. He's a crutch for Ryan Tannehill. Joe Mixon right there at number 8. Yeah, so I got Joe Mixon at number 8. Same reasons. You have him at a similar spot. I think he does. I was wondering last year. I had him on my team last year, and it was just kind of pissing me off that they weren't using him in the, the receiving downs. So, It kind of pissed me off that they didn't use him in that aspect, because I do think he's a shifty type of back that would do well in that as a receiving back part of the offense. Right after Joe Mixon, I got Miles Sanders. I think, there's no reason for us to doubt that he's going to get the touches. I mean, everybody in the organization has said it. He said it. Deuce Staley said it. Doug Peterson said it. We don't really have any guys that are going to demand carries from him. I do like Boston Scott. I like Corey Clement, but these guys, they're not people that you have to get involved in the game. You know what I mean? You can use Miles Sanders to the fullest extent. And then right after that, I do have Edwards-Helaire. For same reasons, very talented back, probably the most talented back that Patrick Mahomes has played with, Well, Kareem Hunt, that's a stretch, but He could end up being better than Kareem Hunt, though, in that offense with his abilities. But it'll be interesting to see. Mouse need to be fed. You got Kelsey out there, you got Hill out there, you got some other backs out there that will challenge him with a little more experience. But I do have him rounding out my top 10. There's a lot of guys right there. Josh Jacobs. Le'Veon Bell, he actually slid down on my list a lot this year. He just didn't look the same. I don't know if the Jets just don't use him right. But I don't have him in my top 10 as I
don't have him anywhere near my top 10. Actually, I think he's just barely making my top 20. Honestly, he's just not.
Why do people hold excuse me, I feel like I got to sneeze. Why do people hold Todd Gurley like he's about to some people I talk to just think he's about to go to the Falcons and tear it up. How do you feel about that?
Well, they what's his name? Sarkisian said that he's still the OC for the Falcons, right? Sarkisian?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
He said that Gurley was going to get a floor of 15 touches a game and could approach 25. So everyone thinks he's going to, be this huge, stud there.
If he can stay healthy, man.
I don't think, I just don't have much hope for that. I think the Falcons are going to be playing from behind a lot of the time. I think if you're going to own a Falcon, you should own Ryan, Ridley, or Julio.
Yeah.
I'm just not a Gurley guy. I clown anyone who takes Gurley usually. I clowned someone in the league that I run last night when they took him in the 3rd round. I was just just laughing at him. They were sitting right next to me. I was just laughing at him. So, I thought that was a little reckless. Yeah. I'm not a girly guy. I place him in that same category as Le'Veon Bell. Little under 15. I just don't think if you have to take him, take him. But I'm not aiming for him under any circumstances.
I mean, whatever was going down in LA really, threw me away from Gurley. Like, I don't want to touch him. Because there was just a lot of games where he just wasn't participating in for no reason. There was no injuries listed. There's this mysterious stuff going on out there with Gurley on the Rams, and I don't see why his injury history would change once he goes to the Falcons. I don't see why they would be, just a heavy run team. That doesn't make much sense at all when you got 2-star receivers like that and a quarterback like Matt Ryan. It just doesn't make sense. But I have seen people have him really high. But I guess we can just finish the show off with a one last piece. Who is your – it's a tough question. Who is your biggest sleeper? Who's the guy that not many people are talking about that you just love this year in fantasy?
I talked about Calvin Ridley. I'd say he's my biggest sleeper, but if you're going really deep, I love Deontay Johnson from Pittsburgh.
Okay, yeah,
I think
like
that he could be low key. He could potentially be the wide receiver 1 for them this year.
You like him over Juju? Juju was beat up last year, so it's hard to say what he's going to be on,
Yeah, I think I have to see, but I've been grabbing Deontay Johnson all I can. I love his skill set. Everything about it, I think, is really good. And then, obviously, if Nick Chubb gets injured, I think Kareem Hunt's a league winner.
Yeah, that's a very good one to call out right there.
What about you?
So this year, man, first of all, I do want to point something out about one of my teams. I was able to get Keenan Allen in a really late round. It didn't really make sense to me. I didn't understand what the drop off. I get he's not playing with Phillip Rivers anymore. You do got Mike Williams out there opposite, but
he just got paid too.
Got paid. Yeah. Which I feel like Keenan Allen's just a possession receiver. I feel like he's going to get his touches, especially with a weak quarterback back there. They're going to kind of rely on him.
Right.
So that was like one of my steals that I got recently. But one of my sleepers, obviously Dallas Goedert. I like him a lot. You can get him really late as a starting tight end. But another one I like is actually Jordan Howard down there in Miami.
Interesting.
I like him, man. He's a touchdown machine. It's just all about opportunity. And, if he can win out that running back spot. But I do like him, especially in those goal line situations. We saw the way we used him, when he was healthy. But after we found out the gold that we had in Miles Sanders, we left that train. But I do like Jordan Howard as just a low-key guy later in the later rounds. I feel like he can contribute for a Miami offense, implementing a new quarterback and Tua down there. But yeah, we'll see. There's a lot of wild cards, man. You got, just endless. I'm getting into these late rounds, and I feel like I have options that I've never had before, which maybe it's just the way the league's changing. These skill players are just so important, and there's just so many good ones, literally. But
I agree with that.
Yeah, like I said, you're finding D-Jacks late in the draft. These rookie receivers, and it's hit or miss with those guys. I mean, CeeDee Lamb's getting taken late in the draft. Obviously, he's a third receiver. I even saw Jerry Jeudy pretty late in the draft as well.
I love Jerry Jeudy this year. I mean, that man could really come out and just be wide receiver 1 immediately.
Yeah,
could be.
How do you feel about Courtland Sutton?
I like him. Him. I think he'll be good. I think he's too expensive at what he's currently being drafted at, like 4th, 5th round. But I think him in the 6th or 7th easy. Yeah,
I got you. All right, man. I guess that's good for tonight. That was a pretty good show. I enjoyed your insight, man.
Appreciate you for having me.
You on. Yeah, of course, man. Anytime. We'll definitely get you back on here during the football season. We can definitely, break down some fantasy, break down some Eagles, maybe even some other sports, whatever's going on. I'm sure you'll be on again, man. It's been a pleasure. I do want to shout out 4th and Jawn one more time.
Yep.
I do love a lot of those guys over there. You guys have got a very talented group going on there. And, our Section 215 group, man, we got some talented people over there covering all the sports.
Killing it on both ends.
Yeah, man. And we're putting stuff out every single day, So
yeah.
It's a very good operation we got going there. As always, remember to go follow Scotty Talks on Twitter, ST Philly Sports 1, as well as Instagram, ST Philly Sports 1. You can follow my personal account, Scotty Drowned, on Instagram and Twitter. You can also find us on Facebook. If you want to go ahead and shout out your handles for the social medias, feel free.
Mine is S Wagman 95, and then on Instagram, Sam Wagman. Easy.
Awesome, man. Once again, thank you, Sam, for being on the show. Much love. I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure, ever since we started interacting on Twitter and just kind of, bouncing ideas off of each other. You've been a very resourceful guy for me. I get a lot of insight from you, so I do appreciate it. Go Birds, man. It's here. Next Sunday it is here.
Thank God.
And it's exciting time. We got to get away from these other teams,
so
man.
Happy.
The Phillies just got blown all the way out today. That was a disaster, but they've been playing decently recently.
Yeah,
so,
playing really well.
So they're in the playoff hunt. That's exciting. But Eagles football is here, man. That's going to wrap it up. Remember to like and subscribe to the podcast. We're on YouTube. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, the whole works. Every main streaming app. Just remember, shout us out, share, and thanks again, my man. That's it.